effectuate their reopening. So pursuant to Governor DeSantis' executive order, and I think it was 20-123, that plan should include the proposed date for the resumption of their operations and guidelines to ensure both guest and staff safety. So Mayor Demings, following that, had asked Orange County staff to perform field inspections to verify that those attractions each had developed that plan and verified their ability to implement and readiness to implement the plan as was presented. So over the last few days, staff was provided copies of these reopening plans and those operating policies and procedures and manuals. Staff had performed the inspection for the Universal Parks and Resort for Orlando actually earlier this morning on May 21st, 2020. The four of us that were out there from the county team included Dr. Raul Pino, a health officer with the Department of Health, Dr. Christian Zuber, Orange County Emergency Medical Services Medical Director, myself as the Director of Orange County Planning Environmental Development Services, and Shane Gerwig, the Orange County Building Official. And basically our task and challenge was to review Universal's readiness to implement the plan as it was just presented to all of you. I don't need to go into the details here. I think Mr. Sprouls did a great job stepping through not just the slides and the deck that they had prepared, but all of the elements that he touched on were fully explained to staff today. That of course included the health screening, guest arrival, ticketing, queue management, restaurant operations, and it wasn't just, of course, for the public-facing, party arrival and point of sale, but also including the back of house operations, guest servers and food preparation and other types of things, and then dealing with the other traffic areas and queue management as Mr. Sprouls had mentioned. So in summary, the Orange County team had no significant concerns regarding Universal's readiness or ability to implement and that they've prepared. And with that, Orange County staff, I believe Shane Gerwig's also on the call. If there's any questions of the Orange County team, we're happy to take those.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Appreciate those comments. Any questions for county staff?
Yes, we have one question for John McReynolds from Barbara Jenkins.
Thank you. Actually, my question is it can wait until after the vote. It has no implications for the vote. I'm just curious to get some insight from him since they've been the first entity to use the temperature checking. I can wait until after the vote.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. We'll come back to you. Any other questions for the task force members? Okay, so we'll move to a motion, and I'm looking for someone to make a motion for approval of Universal Orlando's reopening plan as presented.
So moved, Jenkins.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Do I have a second?
Second, Giordano.
I second to Raul.
Second, Alex.
Dan, thank you. Appreciate that. Are there any discussion?
And then,
okay, Lucas, I believe you were...
Were there any members who abstained or recused themselves from the voting? I didn't know if I heard that announced at all.
Yeah.
I think that's what we were getting to. Lucas, you want to handle that?
Yes, sir. So before full vote, we have a first and a second on the motion. We have no discussion. And so for those who need to recuse themselves from this vote, would you please unmute your audio and indicate so we can note it for the record.
Mr. Chair, this is Chris Earl. I excuse myself from the vote.
Chris Earl?
Mr. Chair, this is Thomas Masson from Walt Disney World Resort. I abstain and recuse myself from the vote. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is Dan Ward with Curling Pin, and I abstain.
This is Rich Costalis, and I have a conflict, and I will excuse myself.
Hi, this is Brad Gilmore, and I would like to abstain the vote.
Okay, Lucas, it looks like we have our abstentions.
Yes, sir.
Would Do you have the roll in front of you to be able to call the roll call vote?
I do not. This requires a roll call vote. I think that the recusal of specific people in advance, I think we're okay to proceed with aye or nay, and
Okay.
note specifically for anybody that votes in opposition to add that to our record.
Okay, we can do that. So if you all would
If we
please
have
unmute.
Tim, I'm sorry. If we have
Yeah,
the
go
county attorney, I just want to make sure that we have the legal way in here. The county attorney is on the line.
Georgiana?
Yes, I'm here.
Are we okay
Yes,
to proceed with the vote?
Yes, we have the identified members who have declared a conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And Tim, just for clarity, we are only voting on universal, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, because I'll have to abstain when we get to the other parts.
Okay. Yep. At this time, we're just on Universal's reopening plan as presented. So at this time, I want to call for a vote, and I'd ask you to unmute, and those in support, please say aye.
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 Okay. Thank you very much. Now we'll turn any opposed. Please unmute and say the like sign. Hearing none, Lucas, please show unanimous adoption of the reopening plan for Universal Orlando. Thank you both for the presentation. And Dr. Jenkins, I'll now recognize you for your question.
Thank you, Tim. John, I just wanted to ask for the good of the group, and certainly for those of us who are probably going to need to consider things such as temperature scanning for large numbers. Tell us any lessons learned or anything that you immediately can share regarding those temperature check stations and what you experienced at City Walk. I'm just curious if you're comfortable sharing anything.
Dr. Jenkins, this is John Sprouls. I can tell you it's obviously only been a week. We have had well over 30,000 interactions. It has gone extremely smoothly. The technology works great. We have only had a handful of people who have registered as over the 100.4 CDC regulation. And we have our health services people there, and they have taken them aside. And I believe in all but one case, when we gave them 20 minutes to sit in a cool area and took their temperature again, it was fine. And in the one other case, our health services people, I don't know what happened because of HIPAA regulations, but our health services people helped that individual figure out what they were going to do. They didn't enter at that point in time. They may have come back later after they went to an urgent care or something else. But it has gone very smoothly. And I would say that our guests have been very supportive of the process. We're not hearing a lot of complaints about that or the masks. I think they're very happy to be able to get out, and they're very happy that having those precautions and screenings in place are making them feel safe.
That's helpful, John. Thank you for sharing. We tried a little pilot with 200. That certainly doesn't give us the same insight that you have with thousands, so I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Dr. Jenkins, if I'm allowed to comment.
Yes, please, Dr. Pino.
So I was thinking about the school this morning. We had a conversation with UCF and some investors and other partners, and they have these thermometers that send the data to the cloud, and you will receive an alert prior to the child coming to the school that there is an elevated temperature, and it tells what to do. So if we can have a private conversation offline, there is something that we thought could be useful for the schools.
That'd be great. Fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pino.
Tim, Chuck
So
has
this time, sorry, Chuck has a question.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
hey, John. I've got a question, follow up on Dr. Jenkins' question. Are you doing the thermometer checks, temperature checks with the handheld thermometer, or are you doing it with the walk-up device that you stand in front of that gives you a green light and you continue onward?
We are using the handheld thermometers right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sprouls, for the presentation. And at this time, we're going to move on, and I'll pass the agenda and the gavel over to George again.
Thank you, Tim, and also my thanks to John Sprouls, John McReynolds, Rich Costales. Appreciate that presentation.